Balloon professionals, if you have ever attended a networking event and felt like it was either a total waste of your time or super cringy, today's episode is for you. My name is Sarah Meyer. I'm the host of the Bright Balloon podcast, the show where I help balloon pros make more and stress less. Today, I'm chatting with Natalie, who is an industry professional, and she has mastered the art of networking. She is sharing tips about how to do this in an organic, non-cringy way that has actually helped her become known in her community. So she is going to walk us through practical places where you can network, what you should actually be doing at networking events, and some unexpected ideas of how volunteering on boards and donating decor can really help build your network organically. So with that, let's jump into this week's episode. Welcome to this episode, Natalie. I can't wait to talk to you about all things networking and community involvement. I'm not great at those things, so I'm really excited to hear how that's helped your business. But before we jump in, give us an introduction.
Well, thank you for inviting me on the show, Sarah. I'm so excited to be here. I'm Natalie Iliano with Iliano Events. We're based in Voorhees, New Jersey. We're a suburb of Philly, and we provide balloons, drops, and party rentals.
Very cool. How long have you been in business?
So I have been in the event business since 2007 when I started a character company, character visits, and I did
Okay, like
that.
costumes?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Similar to how you did the balloon twisting, I was doing character visits. So I was in the industry, I was in people's homes mostly. We did theme parties, tea parties. So that was 2007. And then I pivoted in 2019 when I started decorating my kids' birthday parties.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that balloons really took off. And then when the pandemic happened, people needed balloons for their drive-by parades. They needed balloons for everything. So that's when it really started to balloon.
Yeah. Okay. So let's dive right in here. You are kind of this master of like local networking. Is that what you would call it? Or is it like broader? Like, how has this contributed to your business? And when you say networking and community involvement and you like volunteering, kind of give us the overview of how you're seeing that impact your business.
Yeah, so volunteering for several different community-based organizations as well as some nonprofits. And it really started back in 2021 when I joined the Voorhees Business Association, which is a local networking group. And I joined that in 2021. It was still COVID. We were wearing masks at events. And then 2022, they came to me and said, "Do you want to be the president of the VBA?" And I said, "Sure." Step into that role. So essentially, we organize monthly luncheons where local business owners join and community involvement from the mayor of our town, chief of police, we a fire department, they all come. So there's really a bridge between my township and local businesses in South Jersey. And through that, I've been able to contribute to grand openings, which is great because I get the information on when there's going to be a grand opening, when there's a new business in town. So I have the freedom to reach out to those businesses ahead of time and say, "Hey, would you like some balloons for your grand opening?" Sometimes it's a donation. Most of the time, 90% of the time, it's a full service. They pay full price for an arch or whatever it may be. So that's really been beneficial for my company in just meeting new businesses that have come to town. And also, I'm really into personal relationships. I want to
Okay.
get to know you. I'm very organic. Like I don't go to these events and sell my balloons. I'm just myself and somehow it comes up, "Oh, you're the balloon lady." And
Yeah.
so it's very organic. So that's one area
Can I
of
ask you a question about that
volunteering.
real quick? Because I've thought about that too. And these, mine is like a chamber of commerce, the one that I'm involved in, and everybody owns a business. But I've always wondered, like, if you take on a leadership role, or even if you're like an ambassador, is there like a conflict? Like, if then you're selling your stuff, but like everyone has a business, right? Like everybody's selling their stuff. That's why they're there. So if you're involved, you're still reaching out and just making it known you have balloons, or are you pitching like a grand opening package?
That's a great question. I it's very intuitive. So I don't pitch much. It's just people know what I do. I'll bring balloons to a luncheon so people understand that,
Okay.
hey, this is what I do. It isn't a conflict of interest with, say, a chamber or a business association. I think there's a right fit for everyone. The Chamber of Commerce is not a good fit for me. There's a lot of
Oh, okay.
different ones. But I like the Voorhees Business Association because we're very laid back, we're very intimate, we're not very big, and it's very close knit. I really like that. There's also another one that I'm on, which is the South Jersey Women in Business, and we're just about having fun. I've gotten a lot
Okay.
of business from. I've gotten a lot of business from that, and fun as in we go to outings, we go to sporting events, and it's a very supportive group of women where we could kind of get emotional there and talk about what's maybe going on with our kids that I otherwise wouldn't share with the mayor of my town. So
Yeah.
there's a fit for everyone. It is time consuming, and I know if I focused 100% on my business, I could have the luxury of scaling, but that's not really what I want. I'm very happy spreading myself out and meeting new people. The I was trained as a journalist, so my I went to school for that. So I like going to different places, meeting different people, learning the stories of other people, and just kind of immersing myself in whatever business or event they may have that I can contribute to.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think so you've mentioned too, and the thing that you said a couple times already is like it has to be the right fit. So I would imagine, I mean, you seem very outgoing, very friendly. What makes those events a good or those groups a good fit for you? Just personally, because then I'm wondering if people listening can think like, "Oh, I should look for an organization that does this or does that or this is the commitment or this is the financial obligation." Like just from your personal experience, what has made these 2 groups a good fit?
Yeah. So I'll just give an example. So there's people that are on the PTA, the Parent Teacher Association,
Mhm.
and that might be somebody's route. That's just with a bunch of moms, and they get their name out joining the PTA. So they have a group of moms that they can go to, and it's informal. It's if you're just starting out, that would be my recommendation for someone that's not familiar with networking. To just
Yeah.
start small, and then on a larger scale, then you work your way up. From there, maybe it's a church organization or a synagogue organization. And then when you're comfortable, let's say somebody's not used to that, then work your way up to say the chamber, the VBA, and just I would suggest know yourself so you know what a good fit is because not every group is going to be for you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think it's
Yeah.
okay to, like, just realize that. Like, I think it's okay to be like, "I don't love this, so I'm not gonna
Yeah.
go anymore." Like, I've been parts
Yeah.
of groups where I'm like, "Oh, but I paid the dues and I did th" but it's like, well, if it's not benefiting me, I don't have to go. Like, I don't have to force myself to be part of this group, and I like that you suggested starting in 2 groups that aren't even business networking groups. They're just groups where you get comfortable talking to people. I find it very hard to enter a room where I don't know anybody. Like that's like my worst, not worst fear, but that is where I'm not at my best. Like I
Mhm.
don't know where to start. I don't know how to, make those connections. Do you have any tips about that? If someone's like, even the PTA, I don't know anybody and I'm nervous to walk in. Like what are the very basics of networking?
Yeah, so the very basics of how I launched my business was actually donating a lot of
Hmm.
things, and they would be recycled stuff. So that was kind of my in the back of my head going into a group of people and say, "Hey, you guys are planning this event for field day. I have some leftover balloons or I can make some balloons." And just putting yourself out there where, the cost is going to be low and introducing yourself that way, but be yourself. There's
Yeah.
something to be said for being authentic and being yourself, and people really grab onto that. And I try to bring my whole self to whatever event I'm at, and just be myself. So
Yeah.
people love you. They really they pick up on that. Are you being
Yeah.
real?
I think it's easier too when you're not going in trying to sell balloons. I never succeed at that. I never feel comfortable. I'm always like, if I like remember someone's name, that to me is a win.
Yeah. Oh my god, I know. I used to rely so much on the microphone in news for names to state your name and title for the record. So I would
Sure.
just like zone out. Like I would just be thinking, okay, is my tape on? Am I pressing record? So I never got used to remembering the name, so I get it. It is I'm on the same page as that. But yeah, selling, I'm not about selling. It's really the heart of it is I have extra balloons. How can I donate? How can I help you at your event? And then I have found it really comes back tenfold because
Mm.
people want to support new businesses, especially women owned. And I truly believe in giving back to the community. I also sit on a board, the Voorhees Art Commission, which is run by my town, and through that, I get a lot of business. And if there's any question of conflict of interest, it would be with the township-run political organization because I have to be very careful about taxpayer money, how I'm spending taxpayer money. So I tend to. It's a board of people that vote on whether we need balloons for. We just did a Juneteenth event and in the park. So, and that was great. And we do holiday events. So it's a really great connection and relationship that I have in creating community events. And most of the time, I'm really doing it because the classes are just really great for people. They love watercolor. They want to come out and do art. And if it happens to be that I contribute balloons, then that's great. So
Yeah.
that's another one that I volunteer for.
That's neat. And I like that you said you're using recycled items. So you're striking a job, and then if they still look good, that's what you're trying to donate a lot of the time?
Yeah, yeah. So I try to do that as much as possible. I'll look ahead. What's the party, that I could reuse this for? Somebody on a mom group needed balloons and I donated them to her birthday party. I'll bring them to the AWA, the Animal Welfare Association, and set
Okay.
them up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a good relationship with them and they host our art camps sometimes. So I'm just a big believer in giving back and just not expecting anything in return.
Mm,
And it just naturally um it just comes back,
I
I've been
agree with
doing it
that.
for a long time.
I feel like I always set myself up for failure when I, like, do something really gracious and I'm like, "They're gonna love it. They're gonna thank me and book me next year full price, and they're gonna tag me in a post," and then, like, none of those things happen, and then I get all upset. So I feel like anytime I give a gift or anytime I donate or anytime I do anything network-wise, I just, like, expect nothing. Like, I only donate to causes that I already would donate to, or, it's low commitment, or and that way I'm not disappointed. I think if you're expecting something in return, you're kind of already maybe doing it wrong.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
That's the spirit.
so we've talked about networking. I feel like this is uh, kind of this mutually shared fear, point of confusion, something we all think we're bad at. I mean, there are some good networkers that are small business owners, that are balloon owners, but I feel like the general consensus is like, this is something I feel like I have to do, but I don't want to do. So if someone is in no groups, they've never done this, they don't know what to say, they don't know what to do. You've already given some tips about what those groups would be, but like literally, where can a listener start? Are they going on Facebook? Are they Googling? Like, where do we even find a group to attend? And what are some of the things you should look for that would make a good networking starting point?
Yeah, don't stress out, I think would be my biggest suggestion because the balloon business, it has its moments of stress as it is. So this
Yeah.
should be something that's going to enhance what you're already doing. And it does help if you're a people person, but as I mentioned, like the PTA, something as small as that. Facebook groups are really helpful. Getting to know what's in your area. Local mom groups are always good. So social media is a really good starting point. And I'm sure that, I mean, even down to like the gym that I work at, I've gotten a huge corporate account just from donating balloons and setting up balloons. Actually, she pays full price for for her balloons at my gym. So I think it's just getting that recognition and um I donate a lot of balloons on local sites, like, if I have them left over, and that really catapulted my business, so it's a little bit counterintuitive, like, how
Yeah.
am I gonna get business by giving stuff away?
Yeah.
But it is, like, the precipice of how I started Iliano Events.
Well, and I think something you said too about like at the gym. One of my biggest jobs also came from the gym. So I was working out and just talking about my business because like it's easy to talk about balloons. People are like, "Wait, what do you do?" And then you kind of, it's an
Yeah.
easy thing to be like, "Well, I do like arches." And I don't go in with like a little sizzler speech or anything. I just talk about it like a normal person. And someone who was working out was like, "Oh, I have a 4th of July party. Do you want to do some balloons?" And it was like 3 days before and I was like, I don't think you really understand like what I do, like but whatever, like I'll donate whatever." No. She ends up living she's like in this mansion. She has a 4th of July party for like 400 of her closest colleagues. Like it's one of my
Wow.
biggest events of the year. She's booked I think this is my 3rd year doing it in a row, like, several $1,000s, all red, white, and blue, super easy, and, like, that's when I was, like, rolling around on the floor, suffering, sweating at the gym, and you just, like, never know who you're gonna connect with. So I think, one of the things you mentioned too before we actually started recording is kind of this idea of, like, utilizing your own network. So you're connected with a family business. You have restaurants, or did I make that up?
Oh, yeah, no, so
Restaurant,
my
okay.
husband my husband is in the restaurant business. Iliano Cucina is one in Medford, New Jersey, and Cibo by Iliano in Marlton.
Mm,
So I piggybacked on the name because it's such a well-known name in our area, and there's a lot of trust and reputation with my husband's restaurants that it just seemed like a no-brainer to team up with a place where you have parties
yeah,
and a person who does parties. So we collaborate with my Voorhees Business Association events. I will bring the VBA to his restaurant and we'll have lunch there and I'll set up a backdrop and do a presentation and it's a lot of fun.
yeah.
And then
I
my
think sometimes
sister
we're oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say that's the one restaurant, and then my sister-in-law, she hands out my cards to people that are booking parties at that restaurant, and then I just did a graduation party on the patio, last week, so that's super helpful. I have no expectation. If my sister-in-law wants to use me, great. If she doesn't, it's okay. Because I really like the nature of going to different venues. Because that's just how my vibe is. I just wanna get up and go. So it's awesome when we cross paths and we host events. Uh, so yeah, that's really, really helpful.
Yeah, I think that's something that's always forgotten. I always overlook it, but like utilizing your own network. I feel like it's like what chamber can I join so I can meet all these strangers, or like what group can I pay for so I can meet all these strangers. And meanwhile, like you're friends with a bunch of moms, you're friends with your kids' parents, you're like actually friends with.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to get in with strangers, another tack might be like, "What's your business?" I'd rather donate to someone who I know and already like, and I want to support them than donating to a stranger. Or like they might be willing to pay. Or even if you have, no examples of work, using your friends and saying, "Hey, can I decorate your kid's birthday? And would you mind taking photos and tagging me on Instagram?" I'm really
Hmm.
trying to get my name out there. So I think
Yeah.
reaching out to people that you are genuinely friends with and not trying to, find these one-off clients at these networking events in a crowded room full of people. That's something I totally overlook. I totally forget about. And I think asking for what you want in those situations can also be a technique, like instead of just hoping
Hmm.
you be like, "Hey, it'd be really helpful if you tagged me. Here's my Instagram." Or if you wouldn't mind leaving me a review, that really helps my business. Just kind of asking for that thing that is going to help you.
Yes, exactly. In exchange for the free balloons. I think you make a really good point about just putting yourself out there in front of people that you interact with. And for say the novice who's just starting is definitely the way to go. And for the more experienced, um, the professionals, if you've been doing this for a long time, to really get out of your comfort zone and put yourself out there and be yourself. I think I'd use the word connection or connecting. Networking just sounds too formal to me. Just
Yes,
going out and connecting with people, you know?
it's like networking. I'm like, "Well, I don't really know what that is, so I must be doing it wrong." But if you're like, "Oh, making friends," it's like, "Okay, that feels a lot easier."
Yes, yes, exactly. And even when I do the social media posts for the VBA, I'm like, come out, hang out, make some friends. We exchange high fives for handshakes. Like it's nothing that's uptight.
Yeah. And I'm curious, in the groups you're part of, do you pay?
That's a great question. It is a nominal fee, a little over $100 for the VBA, and the other one is a little over $100, South Jersey Women in Business. I am aware that the chambers are a little bit more, and I've asked people, "Do you like the chamber?" And it really works out for people that are in engineering that are like
Oh,
big time, and I'm like, "That's your group," or even like real estate, just like it's a good fit for certain things. But I just found with balloons, it's just people are kind of like balloon, like it just doesn't register with them. So I think finding the right group that balloons complement those businesses is the way to
yeah.
go. And just
I've had okay luck in my chamber. Mine's like $300 a year, and I know it's in, like, California, sometimes they're, like, several $1,000s. So I think even a
Mhm.
chamber, it's like they're very different where you live, or, like, people what's the one? BNI people have talked about? For me, that's, like, very formal. It's like you have to bring leads, and you have to exchange leads, and you have to, like I'm not gonna bring monthly leads to a lawyer. Like, I don't have anyone in my network that needs that. So, I don't want the pressure of that. I'm more like the
Mhm.
influencer. We're having coffee and chatting. I'm actually in a wedding group that's really, um it's good because I'm kind of the outlier. Like, it's specifically for weddings, but it's a lot of coordinators, florists, caterers, so balloons and marquee letters. I'm kinda like the weirdo in a good way, and I will share this because this was brilliant. It was started by a local wedding coordinator, and she has, like, 25 coordinators that work under her, and she started this networking group, but it's smart because she gets all the contact information of all the people joining. She gets to network with the venues where they're hosting each meeting. She gets to contact the florists and she gets all those contacts and is also kind of like put on this pedestal because she's like the person in charge of the group, but she just started that. Like you could start your own networking group if you're really cool with it, or if you're looking for other female or male business owners, like a certain niche where you're like, I'm just not even finding a group that I want. I'm gonna I'm gonna
Mhm.
start.
Yeah. Networking at an event that I'm hosting has actually brought me business. Like just
Mm,
interacting with there was the guy that's in charge. He wasn't even in charge of events. He did something else at this country club. And I was like, "Hey, how's it going?" I'm like, "Is it all right if I set up here?" And I'm like, "I'm just bringing in the balloons, just being friendly and open and thinking outside of the box." And he goes, "Oh, I'm going to need balloons soon. Can I get your card?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." And his wife, it was her 40th birthday, and he hired me a couple weeks later, and that was just a networking interaction of just like, "Hey, who are you? Okay, what do you do here? I haven't seen you here before." So it goes that is a way to network too when you're at an event.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I feel like I just need to change my thinking about it. Like I just need to shift, and instead of thinking of networking as like going to an event and meeting a bunch of strangers, I need to think at it as just like slowly expanding the people that I know. And for me, it just works better when it's a few people at a time. I just don't do well in large, crowded rooms where I'm just like making awkward small talk. I get very nervous. So I feel like I need to look for those groups that maybe are smaller or maybe meet over coffee or maybe even have some more organization where like everyone has their turn to talk. Cause if it's me just trying to like make conversation with strangers, I get so uncomfortable.
So I actually that's exhausting. People love to talk about themselves. So I go into these events, like, with the journalist point of view of, like, I wanna learn about them. Like, tell me
Yes.
about yourself because they people love to talk about themselves, and, hey, here I am. And so that really bridges a connection of, like, "Oh, I like this" they start to like you, and they wanna so that right there is just, like, take the stress off of, like, I don't even have to say anything. Like, I just wanna hear about
Yeah.
other people and what's going on with them, and that takes a lot of pressure off just saying with the idea of people like to talk about themselves. Let me learn about you. What's your story? Why are you here? And then it takes the lot of pressure off of who I am. And then it just naturally kind of flows into who I am at some point. So
Yeah, yeah, they're
that's a
not gonna be like,
yeah.
"Oh, don't tell me about you." Like, they're going to reciprocate probably.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So you
Do
don't
you
really
have,
gotta
like,
say
a
much.
winning line? Like, what do you say to people at a networking event?
Um, I definitely bring the humor and the fun, and I try not to take myself so seriously because when we're in work 9 to 5, we take ourselves seriously, right? So, um, my opening line is, I Natalie Iliano events, balloons, backdrops, and beyond. And then I and then I go into my volunteer stuff of, what events may be upcoming with the art commission and mention that and mention, hey, balloons are going to be there too. I also volunteer for a board, a addiction recovery treatment facility that I'm the vice president of. My sister and I were in business together with the character company. And unfortunately, she succumbed to the disease of addiction in 2019. So that
Oh,
had a
I'm so
big part on, yeah, that had a huge part in why I pivoted because it was really hard to go back to that, the character business without her. And it just felt like a very natural pivot to balloons, because it just wasn't the same without her.
yeah.
So I volunteer to raise money for people like my sister, who want treatment to, pave a new way of life.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss. That would be so hard. Um,
Mhm.
but I also think you just dropped like 1,000 gems in that last little spiel about another added bonus of obviously if you're volunteering on these committees that you care about, that you support, like you're doing good work. But I also think that's a really wonderful way to like talk about yourself without talking about yourself. Like I'm like, oh, tell me more
Mhm.
about these committees that you're on or that your volunteer work. Like all of that you just said sounded so interesting. And it makes me remember you. But you didn't talk about your business, you didn't talk about balloons, you weren't trying to sell me. It's just it was a connection that, you can share with others, and I think through those organizations, you probably will have something in common with other people as well, or they'll support one of those organizations that you're on.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. We just did a big fundraiser. No, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna ask how much of a time commitment, is that to be on these boards and committees?
So we have board meetings once a month for an hour. So that's about 2 hours of my time volunteering with the Art Commission and the Maryville. And then the VBA is another half hour of a board meeting that we do on Zoom. Because I am the chair, the vice president, the president of these things, it is more of a time commitment because I'm the one that has to come up with the agenda, attach the minutes, write the email. So if you're not in that role, leadership role, then it's a lot less of a time commitment. But it is, I was sending emails this morning trying to get some information right for an event that we're hosting with the Art Commission, and that took some time. So yeah, it is a commitment, and with two kids and
And a
a
business?
business, yeah, yeah, and a husband, and trying to balance. It's not for everyone, right? So I would say choose your networking wisely of is a good balance for you.
Yeah. No, I think that's great though. I think it's amazing that you do all of those things. We are almost out of time, believe it or not. This has flown. This is such a nice episode. I feel like so many
Yeah.
actionable steps that we can, all take and utilize. I love your tips of starting small. I love your tips of incorporating volunteer work and things you already want to be involved in to kind of grow your network that way instead of going to these big, you know, 300-person rooms full of, strangers. That is not my idea of a good time. Um,
No.
what um what type of items? This is what I wanted to ask you. Do you have any type of items that you'll bring as like a little networking gift or thank you, or do you not even bring balloons when you go to stuff? I feel like that's always hard because balloons are so big, and I feel like sometimes it's like weird bringing a huge bouquet or like a column seems humongous. Or do you bring any little favors with you or just yourself and your business cards?
Yeah. So when it comes to sponsoring a lunch, I will bring something. I brought balloon cookies that shape like balloons and I pass them out. It just depends on the type of lunch and who is speaking. When the mayor did the State of the Township address, I brought balloons that were like a cop car, a fire engine, and something else. And actually, someone ended up using them for an EMT event that they were going to the next day. So that was awesome. I was so glad I didn't have to pop them. Uh, I don't like, to be honest with you, I really don't like like being the center of like I'm the balloon person. So I'm very
Exactly, right.
humble about it.
Sometimes it feels like an overstep. Like, if you haven't
Yeah.
agreed on the decor ahead of time and you're, like, showing up with all these balloons, I'm like, for me, that's, like, a little too much. I love the balloon
Yeah.
cookies. That's such a sweet thing.
Yeah. The way to the heart is through the stomach. So I'm
Exactly.
Italian. I'm Italian. So that's, I wholeheartedly believe in that. Um, so yeah, I guess it just depends on what the occasion is, whether or not you want to bring balloons, and also run it by someone who's running the event and just say, hey, would you like this? I can bring it. So you're not overstepping and being out of place.
Yeah, cool, cool. Let's end on our final 3 questions. The first one is vacation related. Where's your favorite place to travel?
So, just bought plane tickets to Italy last week. We have a house there. So, that is the only place that I can go where I don't work as
Okay.
much. Because mainly because of the time difference, where I'm in a position where just those calls and texts aren't coming in because it's just a different time. So, I really am able to turn off in Italy. It's like right by the Amalfi Coast. We take the boat out. I'm so excited. We weren't planning on going this summer, but the stars aligned and we got
Oh,
tickets.
I'm jealous. That sounds amazing. Um,
Yeah.
the next question is always my favorite because I love buying things. What is something you've purchased recently that you are enjoying?
Sarah, 2 weeks ago, I got my first truck. So
Oh, like a balloon truck? Nice.
it took me like 6 years. I waited so long and I was really, I was so feared up about it. And every episode, just about your episodes would be like, get a van, get a van. I'm like, I know, Sarah, I'm going to get it soon. But
Oh,
here
I
I
waited
am.
so long. I think I was in business for like 7 or 8 years, and then as soon as I got it, I was like, "Why did I get this 7 or 8 years ago?"
Made the payment the first weekend because I took on a job that I otherwise would have had to turn away. But because I had the truck, I was able to take on that $500 job. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. So that was the best investment. And a couple local charming garlands actually helped me out. She gave me some really good advice on where to buy a truck. So thank you, Allie.
What did you get?
I ended up getting a U-Haul, a pre-owned U-Haul.
Oh, so you
Uh,
got like a truck.
Yeah, I really need it because, I mean,
Amazing.
I'm filling it up for the weekends. Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
balloons.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
cool. I'm jealous. I have my van, but a box truck, that would be the dream, I think.
Yeah.
And last question, which you've already given so many little tips throughout this episode, but what is one piece of business advice that you would give listeners?
I would say get licensed and insured first, and then don't stress out. Just do it. Don't overthink it. You don't need a business plan. You don't need a loan. Just do it. Just make the balloons, put yourself out there. Don't be scared. And just go out and do it. And be willing to make mistakes.
Yeah,
I
you're
was
going to.
okay. Yeah, I was okay with saying, I'm gonna mess up, but it's not about messing up, it's how you're gonna recover and making sure the customer is always happy. So that's my word of advice for people who may are just starting out or even still in the business. Don't be afraid. Just
Yeah.
go out and do it.
Well, I love it. Natalie, it has been such a pleasure. Thank you for coming on and giving us some networking, or we'll just say friend making advice, because that's my new
Fun
way of.
making. Yes,
I
much
really
better.
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Sarah. Pleasure talking with you.